You're listening to SMSF Connect podcast on iRadio Live that brings you programs covering a variety of genres under development.
In the last episode with Gaurav Mehta, he shared the CSR mandate of DCB Bank and how closely the bank is involved in all their social development initiatives. We are back again with Gaurav to discuss more on how their work is contributing towards the social development goals and how their partnerships with the community and the NGOs have evolved over time. Thank you, Gaurav, for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
So, Gaurav, adding to the water, climate and environment are the need of the hour, and DCB Bank has been supporting climate change mitigation on many fronts. Some of it you've mentioned also. So, according to you, what are the key challenges?
Awareness.
Awareness, yeah.
I think awareness is lacking and options. So, even if you make people aware, the next question is that, okay, I know, but what do I do? Or what can I do? And how should I do? Right? So, I'm not going to refer to your project, but I'm going to now move to another project somewhere in the hills in West Bengal. It's between Kurseong and Darjeeling.
Okay.
So, we're doing waste management out there. Now, climate change is already impacting the output in the hills.
Correct.
Right? Now, if soil is getting degraded for whatever reasons, can we use the organic compost and the manure to regenerate the soil out there? Now, that is one. In our water project areas, if you're looking at farming, let's say Morena or Panna or Gwalior, we have large water tanks now out there, right? How do we ensure that the families can now derive the benefit of more than one crop or two crops, but yet they're able to not use up all that water? So can we use simple stuff that's available out there for them to get the seeds that can they reuse the seeds?
Okay.
Can they grow the seeds and the crop and reuse the seeds instead of having seeds that only last for one crop cycle and then they have to go buy again? So we don't see, there is one, we've always heard of this thing about money lenders, right? And they're in a debt trap.
Yeah.
Do we want our farmers in a seed trap? Right? So if they're able to grow their seeds, then they're not in a seed trap, because some part of the borrowing that they do is to purchase seeds every season or every year. How do you help them get through that? Right? They're purchasing fertilizer. Can we get them alternatives that are equally good for the soil, better for health, for the humans and the animals, and yet they're not in a trap again to borrow, to purchase a farm input, and then they get, so
It's a vicious cycle.
So it's a vicious cycle that needs to break somewhere, right? So how do you kind of give them the power? How do you empower them with other ways? So water is one empowerment. It's big. It's huge. Yeah. Milch animals, drought animals, goats. I mean, they need it all. And whatever water you're able to put into the ground, it just doesn't help them. You're trying to kind of revive the shallow aquifers as well as the deep aquifers, which are in any case getting destroyed. We're just overdrawing water. We're drawing out more than what we're putting back in, right?
Yes.
So all these elements goes to help that. But we need to do that plus also.
Interesting. So now going forward, we've spoken about the implementation, on-ground implementation and the process. But in end of every project, it's the impact that counts. So how is the social impact measurement scenario, according to you, is changing in the CSR sector?
So there's lots of different measures available in the marketplace, let's say. So some companies and some organizations who are into philanthropy in a big way have also created their own set of measures. I feel that firstly, there are qualitative and quantitative measures, right? So the qualitative is, you can also have story writing of a report as an output for measuring social impact. But I think each project or each organization has to figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
And are you looking at the impact measurement from an internal or an external perspective? And that's very simple. Are you looking at it from how it's impacting your employees, right? Because even that's a perspective amongst those principles that you have. Or are you looking at it from a beneficiary's point of view? So one is that. Are you looking at it short term or long term? So time perspective. Are you looking at it from a prospective, current, or a retrospective point of view?
Okay.
So that then are you looking at it from a micro point of view or a meso, which is a company level, corporate level, or are you looking at it a macro view? So once you figured out what that project is out to do and what you intend to get out of that project, right? Then you can figure out which of those 20 or 30 different measures that exist in the space out there, what is ideal. To assess all 30 for an applicability may not be worth everybody's while. So go with the, social return on investment, or go with the measures that you want to measure out. What we see is typically what the baseline is, what the expected outcome is, and what the actual outcome is, because your project plan or a proposal will say we intend to do these things, impact certain individuals, but once the project is done, how soon do you want to go back to that area to assess the impact? Is it a year? Shorter time period? We don't believe a shorter time period really helps you get a full flavor of what has happened on ground. Give it a year at least, give it 12 months, let those behaviors get into everyday life's attitudes, and then move, and then you assess what's happened.
That's very informative, yeah. So there have been many takeaways that our listeners must have noted from this interview today, Gaurav. But is there any one particular point that you'd like to reiterate for our listeners, including our listeners from the village community, जिन्होंने इन प्रोजेक्ट्स में कम्युनिटी समुदाय के लोगों ने जिन्होंने काम किया है साथ मिलके डीसीबी बैंक के, तो उनके लिए अगर आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे?
तो देखिए, जो प्रोजेक्ट किया गया है वो जो सज्जन थे गांव के, उनसे बात करके उनकी पीढ़ी जो है वो सुन के और फिर कुछ उपाय या सोल्यूशन उसके द्वारा निकाला गया है। तो प्रोजेक्ट उन्हीं के लिए बनाया गया है। और अगर बांध है या तालाब है या सिंचाई के लिए और कुछ सुविधाएं बनाई गई हैं, जैसे चेक डैम है, गैबियन डैम है या कैनाल है, तो ये बैंक तो अपने वहाँ लेने नहीं वाला जी। ये गांव के लिए है, ये अपने फार्मर्स के लिए है जी। और सो ये जो सुविधा दी गई है इसका पालन और पोषण भी करना है। तो इसका पालन पोषण भी उतना ही महत्वपूर्ण है कि जैसे आप बच्चों को देखभाल करते हैं, तो ये तालाब है, ये आपकी सुविधा के लिए है, ये आपकी आमदनी बढ़ाने के लिए है, ये आपके बच्चों के लिए है। क्योंकि आगे की पीढ़ी अगर खेती बाड़ी में घुसेगी या उनको और भी कुछ काम करना है, तो ये तालाब उन्हीं के लिए है। तो अगर आप इसकी परवरिश ना करें तो फिर आगे वाली पीढ़ी के लिए भी ये सुविधा उपलब्ध नहीं होगी, और आपके लिए भी 1 साल 2 साल ही चलेगा ये, उसके बाद फिर ये भी फिर वैसे ठप हो जाएगा जी। और जैसे स्थिति पहले थी वैसे ही वापस हम उसी स्थिति पे पहुंच जाएंगे जी। और फिर वो काम शुरू होगा। ये चीज़ बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है कि देखभाल करें। पानी का जो आप इस्तेमाल करते हैं वो बहुत सोच समझ के करिए, क्योंकि पानी ही सोना है।
बिल्कुल, बहुत पते की बात। And friends, with that, we come to the end of this series of Let's Connect with Gaurav Mehta of DCB Bank. And it's been fascinating to learn about DCB Bank's commitment to sustainable and responsible business practices and the impact that their CSR initiatives have had on the communities and the organizations they work with. Once again, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast series, Gaurav, and we wish you and DCB Bank all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us. Stay tuned for more. You can also listen to these podcasts on Spotify, Apple, and Google.